Have you ever found yourself wondering if the man in your life truly loves you, not through the words he says, but in the subtle, almost invisible ways he acts when no one else is watching? Real love doesn't always come with grand declarations or sweeping romantic gestures. In fact, the deepest love is often hidden in the quiet moments of everyday life. The kind of love that's felt, not spoken. What if the way he pours your morning coffee or waits patiently for you to finish a story you've told 100 times reveals far more than any dramatic love proclamation ever could? These small moments hold a deeper meaning than most of us realize. But here's a question. If he's not sending flowers or planning weekend getaways, does that mean he loves you less? Some might say yes, but I'm here to tell you a different story. You're about to uncover 12 surprising ways a man shows his deepest love without ever saying the words, "I love you." And trust me, a few of these might not be what you expect. One, in particular, might even shock you, challenging everything you thought you knew about how men express their hearts. So, stay with me until the end, because understanding these signs can change how you see love forever. You might discover that the man who quietly stands by your side, through all your highs and lows, has been showing his love in ways you've never noticed. And once you see these signs, you'll never overlook them again. If you're curious and ready to explore what true love looks like behind the scenes, hit that like button and let's dive in. Now that we've sparked your curiosity, let's talk about how men express love in ways that often go unnoticed. It's not the kind of love you see in romantic movies or hear in love songs. It's quieter, more thoughtful, and sometimes, believe it or not, easily mistaken for indifference. But what if the small things he does, like fixing something around the house without being asked, or remembering your favorite dessert after a long day, are actually powerful signs of devotion? What if these subtle actions reveal more about his heart than the loud, romantic gestures we've been conditioned to expect? Here's a question for you. Do you remember a time when your partner did something seemingly small, yet it left you feeling deeply loved? Maybe it wasn't something anyone else would notice. A gentle touch on your shoulder, a reassuring nod, or the way he instinctively shielded you from the rain. These moments are easy to overlook, but they're far more telling than we realize. For men, love often isn't about making dramatic proclamations. It's about consistency. It's about showing up in the everyday moments. The problem is, these acts of love don't come wrapped with a label that says, "This is me showing you how much I love you." And because they're so subtle, many women don't even recognize them as signs of affection. Let me share a quick story. There was a couple, Sarah and Tom, who had been married for over 30 years. Sarah used to complain that Tom wasn't romantic enough. He never bought flowers or planned spontaneous vacations. But one day, while recovering from the flu, she noticed something. Tom had prepared her tea, arranged her favorite blanket, and quietly sat beside her reading while she rested. In that moment, it hit her. Tom's love was in every small act of care, in every sacrifice he made without asking for recognition. These small moments were love in its purest form. Let's break this down further. If a man prioritizes your comfort over his own, it's not just courtesy, it's love. Does he check if you're warm enough before adjusting the thermostat? Does he make sure your car is ready for winter before thinking about his own? These are more than habits. They're deep-rooted expressions of how much he cares. Now, you might be thinking, that's just being considerate, not necessarily love. And sometimes, yes, it can be just that. But when these small acts are done consistently, when they're tailored specifically for you, there's something much deeper happening. Here's another example. Imagine you're out at a family gathering. It's loud, overwhelming, and you're ready to go home. You glance at him, and without a word, he knows exactly how you're feeling. He wraps up the conversation, makes your excuses, and within minutes, you're on your way home. He didn't have to say, "I love you," but his actions said it for him. This kind of connection, this ability to see you without needing words, is rare and precious. And sometimes, the deeper the love, the quieter the expression. But not all actions that seem loving are genuine. Here's where things get tricky. Not every man who shows you kindness truly loves you. Some actions are motivated by habit or convenience, not by deep affection. That's why it's crucial to recognize the intention behind the action. So how can you tell the difference? Here's a rule of thumb. True love is consistent. It shows up day after day, even when things aren't perfect. A man who truly loves you will care for you on your best days and your worst days, not because it's convenient, but because you are a priority in his life. Think about this. If he only makes an effort when things are good, it's not love, it's convenience. But if he's there for you when you're stressed, sick, or struggling, that's a sign of something real. Take a moment and reflect. Has your partner ever stayed up late to talk things through after an argument, even when it was easier to walk away? Has he quietly supported you through your hardest moments without asking for credit? These are powerful signs of love, and they deserve to be recognized. And here's where things might surprise you. One of the biggest indicators of genuine love isn't about physical closeness or sweet words. It's about how he handles conflict. Does he fight with you, or does he fight for you? We'll explore that in the next section, but let me leave you with this thought. If someone fights for you, working to protect your connection and build understanding rather than just proving they're right, you're experiencing a rare kind of love. So, before we move on, take a second and ask yourself, what small acts of love have I been overlooking? You might be surprised at what you discover. One of the most telling signs of genuine love is how he touches you, not in grand, passionate moments, but in the small, everyday gestures that often go unnoticed. A man who loves deeply finds comfort and connection in physical closeness. It's not always romantic or intimate. Sometimes, it's a light touch on your back as you walk through a crowded room, or his hand resting on yours while watching TV. But here's the twist. Not all physical touch is a sign of love. Some men are naturally affectionate, even with people they don't have deep feelings for. So how can you tell the difference? Intent and consistency. If he touches you as a way to connect rather than to control, that's a key distinction. Pay attention to when and how it happens. Does he reach for your hand without thinking, as if it belongs there? Does he instinctively wrap his arm around you in a protective way, especially when you're in an unfamiliar place? These subtle actions are deeply meaningful. Take this real-life example. Diane was married to Paul for 25 years. She often dismissed his gentle touches as simple habit, until one evening at a family gathering, she realized something striking. Paul always sat next to her, his arm resting on the back of her chair. Not once in all those years had he done that with anyone else. That's when it hit her. Every touch was his way of saying, "I'm here with you always." But here's the controversy. What if a man never shows physical affection? Does that mean he doesn't love you? Not necessarily. Some men express love differently, but if physical closeness is absent entirely, it's worth exploring why. When a man truly loves you, your voice becomes the most important sound in his world. He listens, not because he has to, but because he wants to understand what's in your heart. This kind of listening is rare, especially in a world where distractions are everywhere. But let me clarify something. There's a difference between hearing and truly listening. Many men will nod and give vague responses while their mind is elsewhere. Genuine love, however, shows itself when he leans in, remembers what you said weeks later, and responds thoughtfully. Here's an example. Imagine you casually mention that you've been stressed at work. A man who listens with love won't just offer generic advice like, "It'll get better." Instead, he'll check in with you later, ask how you're feeling, and offer help in practical ways, maybe by making dinner so you can rest or suggesting a relaxing evening together. But here's where it gets tricky. Some men listen attentively only when it's convenient, or worse, as a strategy to gain your trust. This is why consistency matters. If he listens during the hard times, not just when life is smooth, that's when you know it's real. Take Mary's story. Her partner, David, always listened with genuine care, except when they argued. Suddenly, he'd tune out, dismissing her feelings. It took years for her to realize that true love means listening even when it's uncomfortable. So ask yourself, does he listen when it's hard or only when it's easy? The answer might surprise you. Every couple fights. It's inevitable. But the way a man handles conflict reveals the depth of his love and commitment. Here's the key difference. A man who truly loves you fights with you to resolve the problem, not against you to prove he's right. This kind of conflict is less about winning and more about protecting the connection between you. When emotions run high, he takes a step back and chooses to listen rather than escalate. He cares more about understanding your feelings than defending his ego. But here's the twist. Healthy conflict can be a sign of deep love, while a relationship with no conflict at all might not be as perfect as it seems. Think about it. If he avoids every difficult conversation, it could mean he's not invested enough to work through tough moments with you. A quick story: Jane and her partner Mark rarely fought in their early years. She thought it was a sign of harmony. But over time, she realized Mark avoided conflict because he wasn't emotionally engaged. Meanwhile, her friend Lucy had frequent disagreements with her husband, but they always ended with deeper understanding and growth. The lesson? Fighting for the relationship, not to win the argument, is love in its purest form. So ask yourself, when you fight, does he seek resolution or does he retreat and leave you to figure it out alone? His reaction speaks volumes about how much he values your connection. A man who truly loves you doesn't just sympathize when you're hurting, he feels your pain as if it's his own. He can sense it before you even say a word. It's not just about asking, "Are you okay?" It's about being fully present and supporting you in ways that go beyond words. When life gets tough, he's there, not as an observer but as a partner ready to carry the emotional weight with you. His love is evident in the way he stays by your side when things fall apart. He won't try to offer quick fixes or dismiss your feelings. Instead, he'll hold space for you, showing patience and understanding until the storm passes. Let me share a story. Lisa was going through one of the hardest periods of her life after losing a close family member. Her partner John didn't say much, but every day he made sure she ate, rested, and had someone to lean on. He didn't just tell her it would be okay. He made it okay by being there, no matter how dark things felt. But here's the twist. Some men avoid emotional pain altogether, retreating when things get messy. If he vanishes when you need him most, it's a red flag. True love shows up in the hardest moments, not just the easy ones. So think back. Has he ever stood with you in your hardest moments? Did he stay or did he run? The answer will tell you everything you need to know. Love is about compromise, but let's be honest, not everyone is willing to change their plans, especially when it means giving up something important to them. However, a man who truly loves you will gladly adjust his priorities when he knows you need him. And he won't do it with resentment. He'll do it because your happiness matters more than his temporary desires. Imagine this. He's been looking forward to watching a big game with his friends for weeks. But then you call him, upset after a tough day at work. Without hesitation, he skips the game and comes straight to you, not because he's obligated to, but because he genuinely wants to be there for you. Here's a quick story. Emily's partner, Mike, had a strict Saturday golf routine. Nothing ever got in the way, except her. One weekend, when she was feeling overwhelmed and needed a quiet day together, Mike didn't think twice. He canceled his game and spent the entire day making her feel loved and supported. But here's the plot twist. Not all sacrifices are healthy. If he constantly gives up everything for you without balance, it could lead to resentment. True love is about mutual compromise, not one person sacrificing all the time. So think about it. Has he ever shifted his priorities for you when it truly mattered? And have you done the same for him? Love isn't a one-way street. It's a shared journey of giving and growing together. Protection isn't just about physical safety. It's about emotional security too. A man who truly loves you will stand up for you in ways that go beyond the obvious. He'll protect your heart, your dreams, and your dignity, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient for him. Picture this. You're at a gathering and someone makes an offhand comment that belittles you. A man who genuinely loves you won't laugh it off or stay silent too. Avoid confrontation. He'll speak up, not aggressively but firmly, making it clear that you are respected and valued. But here's where things get tricky. Protection can sometimes blur into control. Some men use the excuse of protection to dictate your choices or isolate you from others. The key is knowing the difference. True protection is rooted in love and respect, not control or manipulation. Take Anna's story. Her partner, Jeff, always stood up for her, but he never tried to silence her voice. When she faced criticism at work, he didn't try to solve it for her. He encouraged her, helped her strategize, and made sure she felt strong enough to handle it herself. So ask yourself, does he protect you in ways that empower you, or does he use protection as a means of control? Real love supports your independence while standing by your side through life's challenges. When a man truly loves and respects you, your opinion holds weight in his life. He doesn't just ask for your advice out of politeness. He genuinely listens and considers your perspective, even when it challenges his own beliefs. He trusts your judgment and values your insights because he knows you have his best interests at heart. Think about this. Has your partner ever sought your opinion on an important decision, like a career change, a family issue, or even something as simple as planning a big purchase? If he truly values your input, he'll involve you in the process, not because he can't make decisions on his own, but because your thoughts matter to him. Here's a story for you. Susan's husband, Dan, had a big job offer that would require relocating across the country. Instead of deciding on his own, he sat down with her and asked what she thought. They talked for hours, weighing the pros and cons together. In the end, Dan turned down the job, not because he couldn't handle the move, but because he knew it wasn't right for both of them. But here's the twist. Some men might pretend to listen but dismiss your advice later. True love is shown in action, not just in listening. If he follows through, it's a sign he genuinely values what you say. So, think back. When was the last time he asked for your opinion and truly acted on it? The answer might reveal how much space your voice holds in his heart. A man who loves you deeply sees your beauty in ways that go far beyond physical appearance. To him, your beauty is timeless. It's in the way your eyes light up when you're passionate about something, the warmth in your laughter, and even the quiet strength you show when life gets tough. Here's the truth. Society has conditioned us to believe that beauty is tied to youth, flawless skin, and perfect hair. But a man who truly loves you sees beauty in your imperfections. He sees it when you're wearing your oldest, comfiest clothes with messy hair and no makeup. To him, those are the moments when you're most real and most beautiful. But here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes, men struggle to express this kind of admiration. They might not say the words out loud, but they'll show it in subtle ways, like the way he looks at you when you're not paying attention or how he notices the little things others overlook. Take Claire's story. After 35 years of marriage, she once asked her husband if he still found her attractive. His answer? More than ever. You've grown more beautiful because now I see the whole you, everything we've been through, and everything you are. The twist? If he only praises your appearance when you're put together, that's a red flag. Real love sees beauty in all your forms, even in the moments you might feel far from it. So ask yourself, does he love the real you or just the image of you? His answer is in how he looks at you, especially in your unguarded moments. When a man truly loves you, being close to you becomes his safe haven. It's not just about physical proximity, it's about finding comfort and peace in your presence. Whether it's sitting silently next to you on the couch or holding your hand while waiting in line, he treasures these small, everyday moments of connection. Here's a question for you. Have you noticed how his mood seems to lighten when you're near? For him, your presence is like a grounding force, a place where he can be his truest self, free from pretense or performance. Even the quiet, unspoken moments carry deep meaning. But here's the twist. Some men struggle with physical closeness because of past experiences or emotional barriers. If he's distant at times, it doesn't always mean he loves you less. The key is consistency. When a man values being close to you, he'll always find his way back. Consider Sarah and her partner, Jack. After a tough week, Jack would never say much, but he'd sit next to her, their shoulders just barely touching. It was his way of saying, "I'm here with you and I'm not going anywhere." That quiet closeness spoke volumes about his love. So ask yourself, does he seek out those simple, quiet moments with you? If the answer is yes, it's a powerful sign that your presence means more to him than words could ever express. A man who loves you deeply will move mountains to make you happy. But here's the thing, it's not about grand, flashy gestures. It's about the quiet sacrifices, the behind-the-scenes efforts that no one else sees. He'll prioritize your needs without making a big deal out of it because, for him, your happiness is his happiness. Imagine this. You mention, almost in passing, that your car's been making a strange noise. The next day, without saying a word, he's taken it to the mechanic and handled everything. Or maybe it's something as simple as driving across town in the rain to bring you your favorite meal after a long day. These aren't acts for show, they're expressions of love in its purest form. But here's the twist. Love isn't about constantly sacrificing everything. If he always gives up his dreams or plans for you without balance, it can lead to silent resentment. True love is about mutual support. It's about finding ways to meet each other halfway. Take Rachel's story. Her partner, Tom, was always willing to do whatever it took to make her life easier, but he never lost sight of his own passions. Their relationship thrived because they supported each other's goals, growing together without losing themselves. So ask yourself, does he go out of his way for you when it matters most? And do you do the same for him? That balance is where real love lives. When a man truly loves you, he'll fight for you, not against you. There's a big difference. He won't turn disagreements into battles of ego or use harsh words to win an argument. Instead, he'll fight to protect your relationship, to understand you better, to bridge the gap when things get tough, and to ensure you both come out stronger on the other side. But here's the catch. Healthy conflict is actually a sign of love. If you never argue, it doesn't mean your relationship is perfect. It might mean one of you is holding back or avoiding tough conversations. Real love isn't afraid of confrontation. It welcomes it as a way to grow. Take Linda's story. Her husband, Greg, always approached arguments with a calm but determined attitude. Even when they disagreed, he never stormed off or dismissed her feelings. Instead, he'd sit with her until they found common ground. Linda once asked him why he never walked away, and he said, "Because fighting for us is more important than winning." Plot twist? Some men seem calm during conflict but emotionally check out, never revisiting the issue. That's not love, that's avoidance. A man who fights for you stays engaged, no matter how uncomfortable the conversation gets. So ask yourself, does he work to resolve issues, or does he disappear until things blow over? The answer will tell you whether he's invested in building something that lasts. A man who loves you deeply doesn't just support your dreams, he makes them his own. He doesn't have to share your passions or career goals, but he'll always stand by your side, encouraging you and helping you turn your dreams into reality. It's not just about saying, "I'm proud of you." It's about taking real steps to be part of your journey. Maybe he helps you brainstorm ideas for a new project or attends every event that's important to you. His actions show that your dreams aren't just yours anymore, they're ours. Karen's story. She had always wanted to open a small bakery but hesitated because of the risks. Her husband, James, believed in her dream even more than she did. He spent countless weekends helping her renovate the space, stayed up late managing finances, and encouraged her when she doubted herself. The bakery became their shared dream, and together they made it a reality. But here's the twist. Not every man will enthusiastically jump into your dreams. Some may seem indifferent or even critical at first. What matters is whether he eventually makes the effort to understand what matters to you and finds ways to support you. So ask yourself, does he dream with you, or does he stand on the sidelines? If he's invested in your dreams, no matter how big or small, you've found someone who truly sees your happiness as part of his own future. Now that we've explored these 12 powerful ways a man shows his love, it's time to reflect on what they really mean. Love isn't always loud or dramatic. More often than not, it's found in the quiet moments, the consistent actions that speak louder than words ever could. So, what about your relationship? Have you recognized any of these signs in your partner? Maybe you've realized that his love has been there all along, hidden in the small things you once overlooked. Or perhaps some of these signs are missing, and it's time to have an honest conversation about what you both need to feel secure and cherished. But here's where things get interesting. Love isn't one size fits all. What works for one couple might not work for another. Some men are naturally affectionate and expressive, while others are quieter and show their love through actions that are harder to recognize. The key is knowing your partner's unique love language. If you've found someone who fights for you, listens to you, protects your dreams, and stands by your side through every twist and turn, hold on to that love. Nurture it, appreciate it, and remember that no relationship is perfect. Real love is messy, imperfect, and full of growth. It's not about always getting it right, it's about showing up for each other every single day. But here's a twist worth thinking about. If you haven't seen many of these signs, don't lose hope. Sometimes love takes time to grow. Other times, it's about recognizing what you deserve and waiting for the right person to show up. So, what do you think? Have you experienced any of these signs in your own relationship? Share your story in the comments below. What's the one sign that stood out to you the most? I'd love to hear how these lessons resonate with you. Your story might inspire someone else who needs a little hope today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with someone who might need these insights. And of course, subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Remember this, love isn't always flashy, but it's always worth it. It's in the small, consistent acts of care, in the sacrifices we make without expecting anything in return, and in the quiet decisions to keep choosing each other every day. Until next time, take care of yourself and those you love. The right kind of love is out there, sometimes right in front of you, waiting to be noticed.